How do we deal with sharp opposition? Hi, everyone out there. I'm Thomas, and welcome to my channel. I do educational videos of all kinds, mostly stuff off the beaten path, stuff that you maybe haven't heard of, and stuff that will, hopefully serve as something, an integral part of your great awakening that we're all going through right now. And one of the items that I think is important for the Great Awakening is the Tree of Life that you see here. You may have seen it called the Kabbalah before. The Tree of Life is like the ancient Egyptian version. My version is a lot influenced by Ra over at the Osera Set Society, and a little bit of my own flavor, coming from several different kind of scientific sources and historical sources, mathematical, geometrical sources, and so what you see here is you got 10 different circles or spheres that are numbered 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you have an abyss right here that's called the abyss. It's an implied circle or sphere. And then you have a 0 above the tree. And so that represents 12 different categories, really 12 different faculties of consciousness. And then in my model, the way I teach it, I basically break it down to another level of definition. So I take the whole tree and I superimpose it upon every one of the spheres. So I break down the 10th sphere into 12 component parts, and I break down the 9th sphere into 12 component parts for a total of 144 different separate components. Now, when you do the Tree of Life yields 12 different faculties of consciousness. With my model, it's 12 by 12. So that's 144 different fractal faculties, or what I refer to as stages of life. The stages are not chronological, but they're dramatic. So basically 144 different dramas that we try to negotiate as we move through life. And that's how I teach it. And if you'd like to get a list of those 144 fractal faculties or stages of life, just click the link in the description and I will send you a free copy. It will help you as we go through all these different videos. It'll give you a little bit of a reference point. You'll be able to compare and contrast and circle back and check what previous stages were about, and future stages will be about, and so on. Now, just to give you a quick once-over on the 12 faculties of consciousness before we get into the 144. The 12 start with the 10th sphere. This is our wild animal consciousness. This is our survival instinct and our fight or flight response. The 9th sphere is our domestic faculty. You could look at it as like a mammalian brain, and that is highly receptive, like soaking up everything like a sponge, and memorizing it and imitating it. So you're really kind of like soaking up all your environment in the home the first 5 years of your life, and it shapes your behavior as you learn how to do the things that you're seeing, and how to imitate that, and then repeating it over and over again until habitual. Then at the A sphere, we have what is really like the consensus world. This is the public space, where this is like the domestic space. This is getting out into public, but it's still kind of the same concept where we're receptive to, our teachers and our preachers and our media and all the experts that are out there that are telling us what we're supposed to believe and how things work, and how we fit in and what we're supposed to do. And uh, we believe what they say, and then we reflect that same behavior. We buy into their belief systems, and we perform actions to demonstrate how we believe it, and we rationalize the beliefs, even if they don't actually make sense and they don't actually add up. But we come up with excuses for them to cover, because this is what everybody else believes. And so, in many cases, we don't have we don't have the wherewithal and the faculties to dissent from that. So we just kind of fit in here at the 8th sphere. We really fit in at the 9th sphere, and to the extent that we become accepted, then we really get into the 8th sphere. So the 8th sphere is for people who've been accepted as experts or authorities on how you're supposed to believe. So once we kind of get our degree, and then we get a job working for the institutions, then we can consider ourselves like in the 8th sphere. Until then, we are kind of striving to be in the 8th sphere. So the 7th sphere, where the 8th sphere is the real world, the 7th sphere is like the imaginary world. And so this is for people who maybe had a sniff of the 8th sphere and decided that it was not, it was all cracked up to be. There were certain inconsistencies and certain, ridiculousnesses that people here recognize, and they and also things that are unjust and things that are harmful, and they come over here and they imagine something better. They imagined something better, and they came over here. They exercised their intuition, their inspiration, their creativity, and also even their pleasure principle, what's pleasing to them. And they eventually come up with some kind of art product or invention that attempts to correct some of the problems here at the 8th sphere. So this is for your artists and your inventors, and also this is a wedge that helps us to get up to the higher parts of the tree through our creativity and through our inspiration. And then the inspiration is the 1% that allows us to kind of become more curious and to really kind of follow our intuition up into the higher aspects of the tree. The 6th sphere, that's the 99%, which is the perspiration, meaning that this path is very hard work. There's a lot of resistance involved in taking the spiritual path. It's much, much easier to just hang out here, but at a certain point, you can't even look at yourself in the mirror anymore. You're like, I'm living a lie. This is false. This is not really what's happening, and this is a pantomime. I'm pretending like this is the right thing to do, when I really, deep in my heart, I know that it isn't. And so you end up taking this path, and you take your lumps as you climb this path, but you, pretty much with every step, you recognize that it's worth it, because there's no alternative. And really, to be honest, most of the people that do end up taking this path at this point do it out of pretty much sheer desperation. It's not that the people that, even though the 6th sphere is really defined as the hero, and that's the term in the Egyptian is Heru. They're not heroes. They're desperate. They're at their wits' end to find meaning and something positive in their lives, and so they're only out there because they don't, because they just can't do the 8th sphere thing anymore. And so the sixth sphere, though, is we're really all familiar with the sixth sphere because this is where we are. This is where we're located. This is, if this were a map, it would say you are here. But the free will faculty here at the sixth sphere is our ability to pay attention and to make decisions. And unfortunately, we're here, but we're paying attention to the lower aspects of the tree. So, when we pay attention to the eighth sphere and we pay attention to the ninth sphere, it, it's comfortable for us because we grew up this way. We grew up, in these areas, and so we continue to pay attention. We continue to pay attention to these areas. And the spiritual growth occurs when we make the decision, the other aspect of the sixth sphere, faculty of the sixth sphere. We make the decision to turn our attention around and to focus it on the higher aspects of the tree, which is scary because it's unknown. Most of the higher aspects of the tree are not well developed faculties that we have, and so we end up kind of like staring into the void because we don't really have well-formed faculties here, whereas these faculties are well-formed. We grew up with them. So that's the hard part at the sixth sphere, and that's part of the 99%. But as we keep going, we keep getting further, more of the 99% fills in as we tune into the fifth sphere, which is our sense of justice. And this is otherwise known as karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. And you can think of it here as like a mirror. When we act based on free will decisions at the sixth sphere, then we get more or less, as John Lennon says, instant karma feeding back to us what we did. And karma can be really boiled down to being waste or violence or violation. And so when we act here, we hit the mirror and it comes back. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And so that reaction, as you sow, so shall you reap. For that reaction or that reaping, we are able to get feedback on our actions. And so we're able to fine tune our actions to be less and less violent, less and less wasteful, because we get the results. And so we are able to tune into a more non-violent path through going through the fifth sphere. And the fifth sphere is just a complement of the fourth sphere, where the fifth sphere is about the enforcement of the natural law or karma. The fourth sphere is about the articulation of that natural law. That's done through cosmology, or a theory of everything, that is a holistic viewpoint of how things work, how they fit together, how they relate to each other, all in a big grand symphony, that the Chinese call the Tao. And like the I Ching in China is from China is an example of a cosmology. And there are many, many, many cosmologies out there. The Bible is also an example of a cosmology. Some cosmologies are more successful than others because they stand the test of time. A lot of times that's because they're more accurate. The natural law is permanent. It's always going to be there. Our interpretation of that natural law in a cosmology is changing. We're constantly understanding more and more about how things work. And so the better our cosmology is, the longer it lasts, more or less. And sometimes the cosmologies break down at a certain point because they no longer answer the questions that people have as new findings are made and new observations are made. So that's important here, is that the fourth sphere, the cosmologies are based on observation, based on investigation, based on also intuition based on experimentation and experience. Okay, then we go to the abyss, which is our psychic powers. This is our ability to tune into and recognize omens. And one is called psychic receptivity, to tune into and recognize omens. And then the second part of that is the psychic heat, which is our ability to act upon the omens once we recognize them. So they come one after the other. Then the divine faculties within are the 3, 2, and 1. These are our divine faculties within, and the third sphere is omnipotence. Second sphere is omniscience, and the first sphere is omnipresence. So omnipotence, all powerful, all knowing, and all present all at once. We tap into this through sound synchronization, such as mantra. We tap into this through light. And the light comes from basically shutting off the sound. So when we can still our thought process and not engage with our thought process, then we're able to go deeper and deeper into the silence of the mind. And that enables us to actually see solutions. And that's really omniscience, is all-knowing, which is wisdom, which is our ability to solve problems. And so we're able to see solutions to problems that we would not otherwise be able to see, because our thinking mind over here is preoccupies us. And so, this is when we have the ability to unoccupy our mind. And this is a tall order. This requires decades of meditation training in most cases. There are exceptions, and you can sometimes with a strong psychedelic or something like that, you can temporarily grasp things, but if you don't do it kind of in a more natural way, that those visions are fleeting, and you may feel like you understand the whole universe one day, and then the next day it's gone. So, but if you build it up slow and steadily through meditative practices, then it sticks. It's because it's gradual. So, but if it's too tall of an order, then we are compelled to use an oracle or a divination system to solve our problems for us. This is using random chance, where the universe comes in, you roll the dice, the universe comes in and picks up takes the dice out of the air and sets them down with a message for you, for the question that you have. So the oracle or divination system is a surrogate for you developing wisdom on your own. Then we have the first sphere, which is omnipresence, which is all present, all at once, all everything eternally. And so this is like the ether. This underlies everything in the universe, and so it's a unifier. The deepest center, it's at our deepest center of everything. The deepest center of the atom, the deepest center of the cell, the deepest center of the organism, the deepest center of me and you. And at that deepest center is an identical one. The one is the self, or is at the center of everything. So what's at the center of me is the same as what is at the center of you, which is that unifies us. So the first sphere is a unifying faculty. Then the 0 is above the tree, and it is kind of like the counterpart to this, where this is nothingness, and this is the ultimate mystery. You can think of it kind of as like the whole universe here is in the first sphere, and this is really like the mind of God. This is that we all participate in the mind of God, and we're all, and the whole universe is within the mind of God. And then the zero sphere is kind of like it's the body of God that we don't even have access to. So it's something that we only have indirect access to. Okay, now what we're looking at for this particular video, this particular stage, is number 78. How do we deal with sharp opposition? And this one is called, number 78, it's called synergy symbiosis. Stage number 78 is about opposites coming together, fitting together, where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The whole cannot exist without each other. Even our enemies, we only appear to be enemies or competitors. Turn the fight into a dance, and the whole is greater than the sum of its parts through association. Simple harmonic motion. The parts work together, even if they work oppositely. Interference patterns. 1 + 1 = 4 in geometry. Two triangles coming together at the right angle create an extra two triangles. So 1 + 1 = 4. And that is a tetrahedron. So with 4 triangle faces, two sides work as one in the whole. Harmonious ecosystems. Systems are brought into balance through the concept of rapport, resonance. When we're on the same wavelength, the same page, the same angle, or the right angle, the correct angle. Perform with the best. Perform against the best. Make each other better. Credit is not to be taken. All glory be to God. Work with our opponents. They are not our enemies. We are both on a level playing field, fully consensually. Expect and demand our opponent's best effort, and give our best effort in service to them. It is an attempt of us all to get better. I didn't come out here for you to let me win. Please hit me with your best shot, and I'll do the same. A crowd is gathering. The crowd is buzzing. Endurance contest, battle of attrition. No one giving in. Caution is thrown. Mythical performances. Heavyweights trading haymakers. Brushed off. What's 2 or 3 lumps? Whole lot of lumps taken. No concessions for concussions. See the conflict as an opportunity. The unrehearsed action in real time presses us to improvise with a champion opponent. Expect and demand their best, and so does she. View all conflicts as blessings in disguise, and they will become so. It is not what happens to us, it is our reaction to what happens to us. All right, that is number 78. And for those of us keeping score at home, number 78 is the 5th fractal of the 4th sphere. So this is a combination of 5 and 4. The 4th sphere is about our the natural law and how things work together, and how they form a great symphony called the Tao. And then the 5th sphere is about And this is also about working universal law, universal love, and universal language. Universal love, being able to work with our enemies, to love our enemies. And then giving, seeking nothing in return, where the fifth sphere is about working with our friends, and also and being honest with them, giving justice to them, and then also the enforcement of the natural law. About a week ago, we did the inverse of this with the fourth fractal of the fifth sphere, which was called co-opetition. So you might want to go back and look at that video for reference. That is, I think maybe about a week ago I did that. And so that was number 67. This is number 78, the fifth fractal of the fourth sphere, synergy symbiosis. Okay, well, that is the video for today. Please like, share, and subscribe. And also, I take donations by Cash App and Venmo. If you would like, those are also in the description. And, learn the tree, keep learning, keep studying, take a screenshot of the diagram, make one yourself, put it up on your refrigerator and your bathroom wall, and be able to memorize it, and it'll gradually start sinking into your head, and you'll start taking off with the tree of life, because that's what it's there for. It's a great mnemonic device, and it's a great kind of compass for us to move through life with. And but it requires just a little bit of effort, a little bit of work. Don't get discouraged if you feel confused about certain aspects of it. Just kind of keep pushing through, and it will yield great fruit from the tree. Okay, have a good day. See you next time.